Hi everyone, it's Roger and Jeremy here from the What's on Disney Plus podcast. In this week's episode, we're going to be talking about what's coming up on Disney Plus in February. We're also going to be talking about the new Mandalorian trailer, plus we'll be sharing our thoughts on The Bad Batch and National Treasure Edge of History, plus much more. A quick bit of housekeeping, if you haven't already done so, make sure you do subscribe here on YouTube. You can also follow us on the social medias as well, like Twitter, and you can find an audio version of this podcast on like Spotify, Apple, etc. So if you're away from your computer or you're at the gym or whatever, you can listen to us yabbering on over there. All right, so I've got Jeremy with me here today. So Jeremy has been a writer on the website for a number of years. He's also been helping us out on podcasts sometimes and to do our retro like podcast reviews. So he's going to be stepping in like pretty much like every couple of weeks over the next few months, maybe a bit longer depending on James's schedule. So he's going to be like our regular co-host now. Let's just jump into some of the big news. So we had a new trailer drop for the Mandalorian season 3. What did you think of this one?
It was the best part of that football game. And I like football. It was just a bad game. But no, I was really excited for this. And I didn't watch the game specifically for this, but if I wasn't watching football, I would have just waited until things. But I was excited. Mandalorian, it's the pillar of Star Wars on Disney Plus. It's what launched with the service, and it's it kind of reminded us that live action Star Wars could be good again. And season 2 had its ups and downs in growing pains, just like any other show. But I kind of like the direction that I see from this, so I'm very excited. And I'm still kind of wondering why we have why Baby Yoda Grogu is back with the Mandalorian. I saw a Book of Boba Fett, but I'm still kind of wondering why, other than marketing at this point, because he doesn't really seem like he fits into the story. But I'm still kind of I'm excited for what we could see here.
There's a lot of people kind of making fun of the fact that if you jump in and you didn't watch Book of Boba Fett, you'll be like, how did he get back? I'll be honest, the minute I saw it's going to play during an ESPN game, I go the exact opposite of like, oh, great. Because that means for me, it's going to drop at like 2 a.m. or 3 a.m. in the morning, at which point I am not staying up. I think it might be, if it was like the first trailer, it might be a little bit different, but this is obviously just a secondary trailer. The minute I see it, it's like it's in the middle of a sports game. It's like, okay. So I wake up in the morning and I'm there like this, like no glasses on, like with my phone, like, no. I'm not watching it with one eye squinting at my phone, like an inch from my face, so I can see it. I did end up going downstairs and watching it on the TV. I watched it through a few times. Looks a lot of fun, lots more action, kind of. Back into like what we love about the Mandalorian. As you say, it is the pillar of Disney Plus. It's what launched it. It is it is like it really is. It's kind of like it is kind of like Stranger Things for Netflix. It's that kind of thing of like that is the number one show that you associate with Disney Plus. Can't wait for it. We are only about 5-6 weeks away now from it dropping, and I suspect we'll see some more of it coming up. But the thing is with Mandalorian, we never really know what the story's going to be until the episode's out. They're not very. They don't tend to tell you. They don't tend to tease stuff. They don't tend to preview stuff. We won't. It's not like Andor and stuff where we tend to see things in advance. Mandalorian, they tend to keep their things quite close to their chest.
Yeah, it's much more episodic than Andor and that things, and that can be both good and bad. But at the same time, they are still building an overarching narrative through each of the seasons so far. And so this one looks a lot like basically him becoming a hero of Mandalore.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm hoping that they start filling in the gap a little bit between Return of the Jedi and also the First Order. Maybe start building them up maybe a little bit. But yeah, that one's looking good. So that's dropping onto Disney Plus on the 1st of March. We'll then have new episodes dropping every Wednesday, pretty much then right through March into April. So that lines up quite nicely. It was also announced this week we're going to be getting Willow Behind the Magic, which is a new documentary special coming out next Wednesday on the 25th of January. So if you enjoyed The Mandalorian, we'll get to see the Willow, how they made it. I'm interested in this one a little bit more because they filmed a lot of it in Wales, which isn't too far from here. I love Wales. It's a beautiful country. But also, I want to see how they did like the scenes in episode 7, where I think it must have been in the volume, where it just looks stunning. The colors and the lighting of that lake just looked amazing. So I'm going to watch it. I don't know if there's a lot of interest. It kind of feels a bit like with Willow, where it hasn't gained that attraction. So it's just noticeably with this one of people going, yeah, well, I didn't like this. I didn't watch the series, so I'm going to watch that.
Yeah, if you watched Willow, you'll probably enjoy it. I enjoyed most of Willow. It had some filler, but in general, so I'm looking forward to this. But obviously, some of the behind the scenes stuff for like Marvel and Star Wars, even if you didn't watch the series, you might jump into them. You're probably not going to do that for Willow, for a behind the scenes of Willow.
No. Also, this past week, we had the official reveal of everything coming to Disney Plus in the United States in February. We've also had the list for Canada, no Australian list. That's usually about a week later. And we also had the UK list, but I want to get into that. That's a whole separate topic that I want to rant about later on. But with the US list, I'm just going to go through, and I'm going to pick out some of the highlights. So we're just going to go through, and as we get to some of them, we're going to just talk a little bit about them. So on Wednesday, February the 1st, we'll be getting Black Panther: Wakanda Forever, which I know you haven't seen yet. So you must be that must be a big highlight for you for the month.
Yeah, looking at the entire list, that is the highlight for me. Partially because of Marvel fan, partially I liked the first Black Panther. I'm not going to say it was my favorite of the origin stories, but I liked it, and I'm looking forward to see how they adjust to Chadwick Boseman's passing. I've been able to avoid most spoilers for that so far. Obviously, I knew certain ones were involved, certain people were involved because it's like, oh, hey, we're announcing this down the road, for Ironheart and Thunderbolts and all these things. So I'm like, oh, these people are involved. But beyond that, I've been able to avoid it so far. But so yeah, that's the big thing I'm looking forward to. Just because I haven't been able to get to theater, so I can finally see it.
I'm looking forward to watching it again. I went to see it at the cinema. I'm going to watch it again when it drops. Looking forward to it is definitely that is the top level product that's coming. Definitely for sure. So that's definitely a big one. We're also getting on the same day the Latin American series, The Chorus Success Here I Come. So a big one, really. Miraculous Tales of Ladybug and Cat Noir, the first 3 seasons. That'll also be coming to Canada. They were leaving Netflix this month, and so that is a big draw to get that series. A lot of people are really excited about that show. So that one's definitely going to be, I think, a popular one with a lot of people. We're also getting some. There's going to be some stuff that National Geographic stuff, which I'm not even going to bother bringing up because there's a lot of it. We're also getting new episodes of National Treasure. We've got 2 episodes coming in February, and the Bad Batch season 2. There's going to be actually 5 episodes because on one day we're getting double episode, which is like a double story. So they're kind of bulking up one day in February. So Bad Batch every week. And we're going to talk a bit more about Bad Batch a little bit later in the show. February the 3rd, some Nat Geo stuff and a new season of Life Below Zero. Right. Then on Wednesday, February the 8th. So we're getting Assembled, the making of Wakanda Forever, which great. I like Assembled. You tend to watch the Assembles as well, don't you?
Yeah, I like most of them. Some of them I've liked more than the series or movie that they've accompanied.
Yeah, it was. I still think back of because Directed by Night technically wasn't Assembled, but that was the case of where I actually enjoyed the making of more than the thing. But yeah, I must admit, I think you tend to do all the reviews for the Assembled because they're a tricky one to sometimes to kind of think about, but ironically that's not the only making of about Wakanda coming up this one, but also we're getting a new Owl House special that will be dropping. I think it drops this weekend on the Disney Channel and YouTube, and it's going to take a couple of weeks to get onto Disney Plus. I don't know why. That's so silly.
Owl House is very popular, so
yes, it's very popular.
It will do well.
Yes, we're also getting some new episodes of Hamster and Gretel, and also that's been renewed for a 2nd season, so that's good if you enjoy that show. Then, right, we're getting a bucket ton of sort of content from A&E, History Channel, and so we're getting Arranged, Celebrity House Hunting, Dance Mums, Forged in Fire. You're getting rescue. Oh, was it? The Proof is out there, and a load of Storage Wars. Now, a lot of people maybe aren't aware of this, but Disney actually owns like half of the A&E network. So there's a lot of content from there that they've not really been able to utilize. And looks like now a lot of it they're going to be able to start to use. They did do a deal, I think, before like with Discovery to kind of license out some of it, but some of it seems to be coming back in. And it's kind of like a weird situation because on one hand, you kind of look at it and go, right, makes total sense for them to use this content. You know, some of it's a bit old, some of it's like 5 to 10 years old. Start bulking out the general entertainment, putting it fits like maybe more with like the National Geographic crowd. There's also a little bit of reality stuff there. So it's just more general entertainment, and that's good. That's very good. I don't have a problem with that one. There is a little bit of an issue that this might not necessarily arrive here in Europe because Disney had to sell its stake in the company in order to get through the 20th Century Studios deal. But from your point of view, what did you think of all these like A&E stuff all dropping in and Lifestyle?
Yeah, they're fine. The thing is, I have no issue with them being added. It just feels weird the month that it's outside of Black Panther and the Bad Batch. This is basically what we're getting. After December and January felt like National Geographic Plus. Now it feels like A&E and Lifetime Plus. Especially getting Christmas movies in February.
Yeah.
That one is just like, shouldn't you have either put those on in this past December or waited until the next December to put those on the service?
I mean, there might be that they've only just expired. Maybe another outlet had it for like Christmas, and now I mean, I don't have a problem with them putting it on, but like you say, you would be like, well, why didn't you just hold it till October or November? Well, it's a really odd one because it's like I know a lot of like fans go, I don't want to see any of this stuff. Where's the classic Disney? Where's all the stuff? It's like, one happens without any correlation to the other. There's not necessarily, what takes away from one doesn't take away from another. I'm glad they're putting this stuff on there, and they are filling out Disney Plus in the United States, and a lot of these are dropping in Canada as well. It is filling out Disney Plus to have more content. This is like, to me, that situation of going, we want to put stuff on there, but we've got so much stuff tied up in contracts on Hulu, we can't use it properly. And this stuff isn't connected to Hulu, so we can move it over. There were some National Geographic shows going to Hulu. It's all like I mean, at the minute in the US, it just feels like, what is just, is this just a layover of some of the cheapness coming through from like the Chapek run that we are still seeing coming into effect? It felt a little bit like me, like, okay, we've just found a stash full of DVDs behind the sofa. Now we're going to put them on. It's like it kind of devalues the list with a load of like generic low quality stuff when you don't have the big bombs in them, and it's just so random. And also, you're getting some National Geographic stuff in there, some ESPN, and it just feel like, well, you've got such an amazing collection of stuff from 20th century that we still can't use properly. And instead, we're getting this like weird stuff.
Yeah, I gotta agree on there's got to be more contracts held up somewhere. There's probably some, of the frugality of Bob Chapek. The other thing is, while Bob Iger is creative, he is still hamstrung by some of the problems that the company had. So even whether this is from Chapek or if it's just Iger going, hey, it's something cheap that we can fill out while we try to figure out something else down the road. All of it needs a home. I'm fine with it being added. But like I said, it's just so weird that this is pretty much all there is for the month.
Yes, yeah, and also where does it out? Yeah, and also where does it live? Like it's like, this is a question we bring up a lot about, like, the hubs. It doesn't belong under the Disney hub. It doesn't belong under that. I mean, you could put but it's not technically National Geographic. This is where this line of like those hubs and why we need more collections and stuff, because as Disney Plus expands in the UK, that would have just been all chucked under the Star brand, which again is that constant thing I say about how it becomes just a jumbled mess because there's no structure to find anything. It's very tricky. And who's going on to Disney Plus looking for this kind of, it's just, and like they're random seasons as well. That like you got things like Dance Mom seasons 1, 2, and 7, Forged in Fire season 4. And it's just like, and Storage Wars season 14. Well, what happened to the first 13? It's like random. It's like so random.
I'm wondering if Storage Wars is the one that has somebody involved that got in trouble and they don't want to put him on, and season 14 is where it picks up without him.
It's just an odd selection. It's like I said, it's a very weird little situation with it. I don't have a problem with them doing it. It's like you say, that could they spread them out a little bit more? I'm like here again on February the 10th. 42-1. The Christmas Consultant, Viva Navidad. This one really kind of threw me off. Was House of Darkness. There's a couple of movies and a couple of series, so it's a little bit like random of like what that might actually be. Liz and Dick, and again, like the real MVP. Once Upon a Main Street, Tommy Breaks and Unbreak My Heart, and Turkey Hollow. I mean, just some real random bits and pieces. Just
the 42-1 actually makes sense to me. They have put ESPN documentaries on before. That one also, I believe, is a focus on Jackie Robinson, who broke the color barrier in baseball in the middle of Black History Month. So that one, I at least understand it. I mean, it makes more sense than, hey, Storage Wars season 14. But there's at least a tie-in to the month and content they already own. But yeah, with the hubs thing, you're right. At this point, it's almost like they need to set up a hub with each channel that they own and where the content, like, oh, this was on ABC, put it here. This was on ESPN, put it here. Yeah. This was on A&E, put it here. This was on Lifetime, put it here.
Well, it's like, I mean, like ESPN, there's more ESPN documentaries than there is anything of Pixar and Star Wars. There is, there's more tiles, and it's like, again, this is just this constant thing of going, we know the change, they are setting it up. You're looking at this, when I looked at this list, it's going, they are doing what they said they were going to do. It's just taking them a lot longer to get there than we maybe had hoped them to. It was just a very, very odd one. One cool one we're getting the Doug's Days, Carl's Date, a new Doug Days short. I don't know if this one's going to be the last one. Obviously, with the main actor passing away, that does change how to do it. It's like, it's not really a character. I hope they can kind of revoice, like just let this one kind of go. But yeah, more Doug Days is good.
Yes, more Doug Days is good. More Pixar in general is good. I agree with Ed Asner's passing. Anything you have voiced, obviously still get it out, but don't recast Carl. Don't recast Carl at this. Leave it be. On that sense, I wouldn't be surprised if they do something where they focus on some other characters and Carl's there and has no speaking role. That would be fine, but let Ed Asner be Carl.
I mean, it's like in the Diary of a Wimpy Kid. He plays the granddad in that as well. Like you could get away with that because it's just like a smaller character, but Carl is just so it's just so iconic. We're also getting new episodes of Marvel Studios Legends a week before, obviously, Ant-Man Quantumania coming out. So we're going to get an Ant-Man, a Wasp, and a Janet episode. So I'm actually working my way through the Ant-Man stuff. I watched Ant-Man 1 the other day. I'm probably going to watch Ant-Man and the Wasp tomorrow. And then I got I'm going to try and get through them all before Quantumania because I feel like it'd be quite nice. I haven't watched them for a while.
Yeah, like I said, they've been palate cleansers for the rest of things. Like, oh, we've got something heavy. We need something light. Here's Ant-Man. And hey, best supporting character in the weeks.
Yeah.
But I'm I'm looking forward to it. But these Legends things, they're just kind of like well done trailers. So I'm glad they're there, but this is easily something that they could push to YouTube.
Yeah, it is a bit of an odd one. Wednesday, the 15th of February, we'll be getting Season Milan, Better Dog, Better Human. Oh, well, the other way around. Season 3. That one's been a bit weird. That one's been going to Hulu with new episodes. There's so getting Moon Girl and Devil Dinosaur. That'll be like a week after it airs on Disney Channel. This one's kind of an odd one because it's kind of getting labeled as a Disney Plus original on some of the websites, but it's not. It's like an odd one. I'm not as keen. It's like this one definitely feels like in the kids' territory of Marvel animation, so I might give it a go and see what it's like. But I'm not holding out much hope for that one. You?
Nah, yeah, same thing. It's I think it's more to draw in younger fans than it is to get older fans to watch their animated content.
And I actually think it's good because, like, I mean, I know, like, with my nephews and stuff, they've been loving like the Spider-Man cartoons. You know, that is a big part of Marvel, and they need to have those kind of shows. We're also getting some new episodes of Super Kitties. Now, this one was a good one. I thought this was Mars, season 1 of Mars from National Geographic. A kind of a good, kind of weird drama series, but it's nice to see Nat Geo starting. You know, they're starting to. That's an area that they could really like start using. You know, you can start getting some of those shows on there. But Mars is a nice, proper drama series to have on there.
I haven't seen it, but now that actually makes me look forward to that one coming. So I'll check that one out.
Yeah, that one's good. We're also getting Milo in the Multiverse, which is a Latin American series. That I think that was originally supposed to come out next week, but that's been delayed. Also,
told us this time.
Yeah, no, there's another one as well. That's been, I think that one got pushed back as well. Was the club one on Friday, the 17th of February. The Making of the Wish. A new that came out just before Christmas on Nat Geo. A behind the scenes look at how they built the Disney Wish ship. So I'm personally really want to watch that one. I've got a Disney cruise booked this year. Been on a cruise. I've not been on the Wish yet. Obviously, that's the new one. So we were watching a documentary last night on the Royal Caribbean of how we watch a lot of cruise documentaries. So for me, it's just like, yep, I want to watch that one. That's definitely on my list.
Oh yeah, it has some interest. I've never been on a Disney cruise, but I love seeing some of those behind the scenes stuff for things like that, and it would be more interesting than just saying, here's a day in the life of the cruise. So, but at the same time, are you really banking on a whole lot of people tuning in for, the making of a ship?
Yeah. I think it's probably that thing as well. It's a good advertising thing. And also, because, I mean, especially at this time of the year, I mean, like Channel 5 is just full of travel documentaries. And me and my wife love traveling. So it's that kind of thing. And we tend to watch those kind of shows. So for me, that was like, even if that was on another network, I'd watch it. That's the kind of thing of like I'm interested in that one.
Yeah, Disney, I'm expecting a lot of fluff in it.
Yeah, I think I'm hoping with that Geo, it's probably a little bit better. We're also on Wednesday, February the 22nd. We are getting. I forgot actually on the 17th of February, we're also now getting a new Korean pop documentary, J Hope. Big. From BTS. So that one got announced literally overnight before we recorded. So that's another new documentary coming. It's a bit of a weird thing with this like K-pop star stuff because one minute like they put it on Disney Plus in the US, and then the next one, like earlier this week, they brought out Super Junior. That one didn't get released in the US. It's like the release strategies are all over the place of what they're doing. And I just, they just need to get this sorted a little bit. But it's nice to see that one getting a global release. But not that I'll probably watch it.
Yeah, I'm probably not watching that one. I love music documentaries, but I know nothing about K-pop or BTS.
No. So. We're also on February the 22nd. We're getting Ultimate Airport Dubai. So it'll be interesting to watch that one. We've also got To Catch a Smuggler. The big one really is... we're getting Voices Rising, the music of Wakanda Forever, a new series taking a look at how they made the music and going through it all. Black Panther has an amazing score. The second one had some really good music. So I like, I speak obviously on the channel. We speak to a lot of composers, so I do pay a lot, and I listen to soundtracks while I'm editing and writing. So I'm kind of very much in this kind of thing. Oh yeah, no, this is a show I'm interested in.
Yeah, I would definitely be interested in that. I love music. I love behind the scenes on music and stuff and learning how they put something together. My favorite part of If These Walls Could Sing was when they got to John Williams there for Star Wars and Indiana Jones and stuff. So, yeah.
I'll be honest. I dropped If These Walls Could Sing about an hour into it. I got to that point of just like, it's like... Yeah, I've just like hold on, who's been on? I've completely just zoned out at this point. As I refer to it as If These Walls, it's like just staring at these walls was more. I just did not think much of that one. And then finally, on February 24th, we're getting Tina, the New Life of Lolita, and Blow Your Mind. So that's the US lineup. So like I said, so what jumped out? What are your if you were to pick a few of them out that you're going to watch? What are your highlights?
Black Panther Wakanda Forever, and you got me interested in Mars now
Yeah.
for that one, and probably the Black Panther, the behind the scenes, both the assembled and the music, and that might be it. The making of the Wish. That's about it. I mean, I don't care much for most of the shows on A&E or Lifetime. History Channel has some interesting stuff. I might check out some of their stuff.
Yeah.
But most of it is just kind of like, okay,
Yeah.
I'm glad it's there. There are people who watch it. Let them enjoy it. But it's still one where I'm just like, you couldn't put in some other tentpole here outside of the because National Treasure and Bad Batch are not enough to carry it on its own. They kind of need like a short 4-episode show, I think, probably to carry
and that is why they are heavily promoting Mandalorian, because that's the way of keeping everyone locked in. For me, Black Panther, I want to watch that one again. It's not as high because I've seen it. The Wish documentary is definitely very much on there. But yeah, it's a little bit. It's a very much a light month. But it's kind of weird because I always tend to figure like January and February is like we're all stuck at home because of the bad weather and all the rest of it. They all heavily go in hard on like October, November, and this month it does feel a little bit light. A couple of quick highlights from Canada. They're going to be getting Kindred on the 8th February. So that one's an FX series that recently got released on Hulu in the US. Hopefully it's coming to the UK as well. They're also getting Empire of Light, which recently got released. I suspect it will go to HBO Max in the US. So that will be the last of the new films to go to there. So that'll be like, oh no, we've got Avatar, The Way of Water. But that'll be one of the last ones to go through. I suspect for us in the UK, it'll be another month. And then in Australia, it'll be another 2 months because the movie doesn't even come out till next month in cinemas. They're a bit of a messy release for some of these films. So those are a couple of the highlights. Now I want to talk about the UK. So we don't get an email in the same way. We don't get the same lists that like other countries get, where you get a list of everything that's coming. They stopped doing it last year, and they just started highlighting some of the things that are coming. And on one hand, I can look at it and go, look, if there's a lot of problems and lots of mistakes, and it's costing more money to make these lists because they're so big, because we get so much stuff. Okay, I get where you're coming from. Not every company or not every streaming company gives you a list. But when the list dropped this week, it was a little bit like there's 3 things on it. Just 3 things and a couple of things that we kind of knew about already. And it was a bit, and just a highlight of like movies that are already on there. And it was a bit like, oh, really? It was like, this is not a way of, how can I like, it was almost like, this is not a way of selling the network for the month. It was just like, wow, a Korean drama series and Love, Simon. It was just like, oh, okay, and we're not even got a date for Love, Simon. So that was, and it was just like, oh, well, that was a really like nothing burger. It was like, well, there wasn't really a lot of point. Yeah, we're getting Flashman in Trouble, which is a series that came out last year in the US. And yeah, I'm just like, well, I don't know what's coming in. I don't really know what's coming. just like, okay, yeah, it's just a surprise we have that every week anyway, like here in the UK. I don't know what was on today until I look today. That's literally how it is every day on Disney Plus here in the UK, because we just do not know. But yeah, that list for February from the UK, I will be honest, it was like, yeah, no point getting excited over this, people. There's nothing on it. It was bad.
Yeah, I don't know how much of this is just still negative effects from the pandemic and then from that, or again, JPEG's cost cutting or anything along those. But when the US list is better, that's a bad sign.
Well, the trouble is the US list might not necessarily be better by the end of the month. When you actually compare the list, like if I was to write everything down, the UK list will probably be better, but we just don't know about it. And they just, I don't know if there's some other things going on, but
when what they're willing to tell us about is better, it's still a bad sign.
Yeah, so it was a little bit along the lines of right, okay, well, there we go. So that was all that was. So it was a little bit disappointing with that one. Also this past week we did get some notes just from Canada. So this might give us an indication of what's coming up internationally, and a lot of these are going to be coming to Hulu in the US. History of the World Part 2, which is premiering on Monday, March the 6th. There will be 2 episodes dropping a day for 4 days. History of the World, never seen it. The trailer didn't really do much for me. Have you seen the original?
Yes, I've seen the movie. It was actually a really funny movie, but I don't know why they would need to do a series 40 years later.
No, so that one, I'm going to give that one a go, but I'm not entirely too sure. Getting Unprisoned on March the 10th, which is a new drama series, half-hour comedy series about a messy therapist who ends up getting her dad out of prison and he moves in with her. Also getting Up Here, which drops on Friday, March the 24th, which is a romantic comedy set in 1999 in New York. And it's just about the couple coming together and their issues. Tiny Beautiful Things drops on Friday, April the 17th. And this is all about a writer who becomes an advice columnist, even though her life is falling apart. And she is going to be played by Katherine Heim. And then we got Saint X dropping on April the 26th. Which is a new psychological drama through multiple timelines and stuff. It was just most of them are probably going to end up coming out on Disney Plus internationally. I think Tiny Beautiful Things has already been confirmed for the UK, but this is kind of a follow-on from last weekend's press association tour where they all got announced for Hulu. Now it's just been confirmed. Just nice to see Canada getting all these shows at the same time as Hulu. I think we need more of this, a little bit more clarity, a little bit more simplicity of just trying to get these out. Hopefully, internationally, it's the same. Sometimes they are, sometimes they're not. I mean, I know like we've got How I Met Your Father season 2 dropping in some countries on Tuesday next week, including on Hulu in the US. But here in Europe, we're getting it at some point in the future. I don't know. So it's a few. If it's coming in a few days, there's not been a lot of talk about it. So I'm guessing we might get it in April because I think I saw a social media post on the Malaysian Disney Plus. This is the thing of because I follow all the different countries, you start seeing patterns evolving of like, okay, that country's getting it, but that country's getting it later. But that's only because I'm really paying a lot of attention. But it's a little bit messy in terms of it. Right. Okay. A couple of other quick things before we jump into the reviews. Looks like Tron 3 that is moving ahead. It's starting to look like it's going to be starting to film in August. Jared Leto is going to be starring in it. Not Jay Leto. That's an entirely different person. and so this one's been in development for like 5 years. They brought in a guy. I'm not even going to try and pronounce his name. And he's previously directed like Maleficent 2 and one of the last Pirates of the Caribbean films. So the Tron movie called Tron Ares looks like it is all starting to fire up again. And with the the new rides opening up in Walt Disney World in April. Do you like the Tron series?
Not really. I saw the original and it didn't really appeal to me based on the things when I was a kid. And then I did watch the sequel when it came out, and it was much better looking, but plot-wise was not exactly great. So it's kind of there. I'm just sitting there like, I'm not excited for another Tron movie when neither one of the first two really grabbed my attention. But, obviously they feel confident enough based on their performance that they've, put some rides, or some attractions, and now they're going to do some more movies. And then I'll probably check it out when it hits Disney Plus. But I just hope they have Jared Leto say it's Morbin time.
Yeah, it's a little bit like I've liked it. I mean I did the Tron ride while I was in Shanghai a few years ago, so I know the attraction's really good. I love the music, but yeah, the movies just don't quite hit the same with me. And I enjoyed the first one when it came out back in the 80s. Right, so that is today's news. So now we're going to jump into some reviews from this past week. So a quick shout out first off to our Patreon and YouTube channel members. So big hello and thank you to Sarah. Thank you for your continued support at the platinum level. Also big thank you to Andrew. We got Elliot, Jacob, Caleb, Red Mars Man, Aero, Cody, Daniel, Darren, the Juice, Lauren, Paul, and Babak. We've also got Jonathan, DJ, Frosttop, Daredevil's jumping in here now. We've also got Ben, we've got Tim, we've got David, we've got Mahmoud, we've got Raphael, we've got Adam, Dana, we've got Ricky, we've also got My Visa Still Works, Bina, Joshua, Martin, and Sarah. So big thank you to all of your support for that. It really helps a lot. There will be a Q&A on Sunday this week, but it will be a pre-recorded one. We'll be back live next week as per usual, so keep an eye out for the post during the week. Right, so let's now talk about this week's new releases. So let's start off with National Treasure: Edge of History. How are you finding this series so far?
Very CW. It's it's fine. It's all executed fine. It's just not grabbing my attention. The gang of people I think I wrote in my last review is just either unlikable or unmemorable. So it's hard. Like, honestly, I'm kind of rooting for the bad guy in this series because it's the only one who stands out. Catherine Zeta-Jones is actually doing well in playing the role of Billy, but
she's height, and I mean, I would say like camping it up. I mean, it's just so you have to go.
I think she's doing that because while filming, she realized, they're not going to connect with these people. I have to do something to make you hate me.
To me, one of the problems is with this one is the kind of the long-term boyfriend just gives me the creeps. He's just like if he isn't being paid for by Billy, I'd be surprised because he just comes across a bit slimy all the time. But it's like, well, you could have put him and the shoe guy together as one character, and that would have worked a little. It's like, again, it's the same thing that happened with just too many characters. Just too many characters and I don't think they needed them. I mean, it's like the hacker friend is just like, it's so oh, I can hack into the. It's like, oh yeah, you can just hack into everything. You can hack into, the FBI. It's like, come on, it's just cheesy, lazy, like you're not really much of a, it's like, okay, so just a random girl can do it, and it is just a very, very just generic show, and like. Even like just all of it, it's just you can see all the plot crosses so far in advance.
Oh yeah, and then one was like, oh, Billy is actually on the same side, and then no, like it shows Jess's intelligence, but like the audience could tell, so it doesn't really show Jess's intelligence. It was pretty kind of obvious.
Yeah.
And then the twist in this most recent episode. That Salazar is, not actually Salazar is, something that also you kind of could see coming from a mile away.
I mean, of course, now he's going to be the guy running around in the car chasing them the entire time. That's just set up because they look the same. But yeah, it was, and now it's like, oh, we're now going to get my dad out of prison. Like, come on, it's like you're going to go into a high. You're going to plan to get him out in one episode, and it's just like you've not done. It's like that's we've seen Money Heist. It takes a while to do these kind of things, and it's just she's like, right, okay, we'll just get. I'm gonna. It's just it just seems very lazy in terms of just like just tell him we're just going to do something really, really massive, but do it really quickly, and it doesn't really matter. And it's such a shame because it's like I love those first two films, and this is just like this could be just called Edge of History with no connection to National Treasure at all, and it would be fine as like you said, as a CW show. I don't. It's that same thing as well. Like, how old are they? Are they 16 going on 18, or are they like 32? I can't quite make my
mind. From what I took from it, they have gone to college and they're trying to get jobs out of college. So that put them roughly between 22 and 24, which at least they look that. So I'll give them that. It's not the same as most American shows. It's like, 16. And I'm like,
I'm going to chisel jaw.
Every once in a while, you'll find someone who is young, who has a young enough appearance. Like Bianca Lawson was playing teenagers from like 1993 till 2013, and she still actually looked like a teenager, despite the fact she was almost 40 in 2013. But she's an exception, not the rule. Most of the time, you can tell.
It's a bit like there was a girl that was in Grownish, and I think she's moved over now to How I Met Your Father. She's like in her mid-30s, like in college, and you go, well, aren't you guys supposed to be like 18? And it was just like, again, it's just sometimes you watch these shows going, man, there's a lot of pressure on younger girls and blokes to look way older than they actually are. There's not a hint of acne in any way. I don't know. It just, again, National Treasure is just, I keep watching it. My wife has said now that she does not want to watch it with me anymore, so I watch it.
I don't blame her.
It is that thing you're like, now I did watch it on Wednesday. I'm going to finish off the series. It's not unwatchable. I would say that it's just very average. There's nothing really. I wouldn't say I'm sitting there, I'm not enjoying this show, but it's just. But if this was on Paramount Plus, I wouldn't watch it. That's right. The kind of I'm not liking it, if that makes sense.
I'm not liking it, but I'm not liking it.
Yeah. Yeah. What about you?
Yeah, pretty much the same. If this were not on Disney Plus, where I'm reviewing it, I wouldn't watch it. I would probably have checked out the first episode or two to see the National Treasure connection, but at the rate it's going, no, I wouldn't have stuck with it.
No, I know James, you watched the first one and that he was out. We also had Bad Batch, aka pod racing from Phantom Menace. We went back and did that this week. I did rewatch the episode because I couldn't remember what I've seen and what I haven't seen. And this was the kind of and like people are being like complaining, it's a filler episode. It's a 16 episode kids show, people. That's what this whole series is. It's filler. It is not aimed at. It's not Andor. This is a children's show that adults can enjoy as well. And this is the kind of Clone Wars and stuff used to have random show episodes all the time. It was fine for what it was. It was, but yeah, it was fun. It was stupid.
Yeah, it was fun. I enjoyed it. My problem with the Bad Batch is kind of been on my same problem with Boba Fett, in the sense of that the show is better when they're not there. Like my favorite episode of the entire series is episode 3 of this season that solely focused on Crosshair. He's interesting. The rest of them right now are stymied by Omega's presence. Yeah. Like they can't do anything because they have to make sure this kid doesn't die. Yeah. And we've already got that with The Mandalorian. And at the very least, it made sense in their storytelling. And the Bad Batch, it just seems kind of like, we're trying to draw on kids, which is great because it is aimed at kids, but it just does not make the show compelling for an adult to watch without kids.
Yeah, I mean, it's that whole thing as well, like, because at first I questioned them like releasing it alongside like The Mandalorian and things. It's like, it's fun. It's a fun show for Star Wars fans. And it's a little nods here and there, but the Omega factor does bring down the tone of the show quite a lot. It's kind of like a halfway house, but it's kind of weird thing of like I'm desperate to try and get my nephews into Star Wars. It's like where do you start them? And like, this is quite complex. I don't know. It's just like, would you start them on the Bad Batch? It's just like half of it will go right over their heads. But then like the episodes are aimed at younger ones that they don't need to know. I don't know. It's just a very odd little show, but it's fun. It's definitely a fun show.
I started my son with Rebels and that got him in. So
yeah, that's a good one. Because I was like, well, these like New Hope and stuff. Because I've, like here's a load of like Star Wars toys, and they're like, oh no, give them a load of Marvel toys. They're running around crazy. But yeah, it is an odd one with Star Wars, the Bad Batch. What else have you watched this past week on Disney Plus?
I think that's pretty much all I've watched this week is National Treasure and Bad Batch. It's been a busy week, so I haven't had a lot of time to watch TV. So that's kind of all I've really watched. That and the Mandalorian trailer. Yeah,
it's a bit of an odd one. Like it's again like I was just like looking here at like what's been on. I'll be honest, we kind of had 2 nights watching The Last of Us. That took us 2 nights to watch through because it's a bit of a longer episode. Because that was the big new one this week. But yeah, I mean, like I said, I've been watching Ant-Man and also just kind of making my way through a couple of other bits and pieces. As of like today, I have time recording because recording a day earlier today. So the new Adina Menzel special dropped on Disney Plus here in the UK a month later. So I might give that one a go later today. But so there we go. That is this week's episode of the What's on Disney Plus podcast. Next week, me and Jeremy are going to be kind of running through what we are looking forward to watching in 2023. And then I will be back the week after, and James will be back, and we'll be going through all of the latest news. So on that note, guys, thank you very much. You can go check us out over at whatsondisneyplus.com. Like, follow, and subscribe, and I shall see you guys soon. Laters.
Bye.
Thank you very much for watching this video. Make sure you go check us out over at whatsondisneyplus.com. Like, follow, and subscribe. Also, a huge thank you to all of our supporters over on Patreon and also on our YouTube channel memberships. And I shall see you guys in another video. Laters.